Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Tiān 2, Episode 7, courtesy of Blinks. Thank you for reminding me. Uh, After the events of last episode, which were quite a doozy, as the duo of Leanna and Estelle have looked into the odd goings on of Soleil and Luan. They went to the supposed surprise party and learned a little bit more about Soleil and Luan and their predicament as Estelle has been gone for the past 2 years. Seemingly, as Estelle came to the revelation that it was Luan who had attacked her mother, Laurel, they turned on Leanna first, attacking when it was unexpected. After a scrap between the two groups, Luan was able to escape with Soleil, leaving a chunk of the dead forest burning, and Estelle and Leanna wondering what to do next. So, Leanna and Estelle. I should probably bring up the map again. Doo-doo-doo. So, just as a refresher course for everyone, the area that they are currently in consists of a jagged black path extending to the opposite side, a dark forest to the right and left, surrounded by stones and black trees. The ground is mostly coated with crimson red leaves about an inch thick and deep. So, again, with that being said, Estelle and Leanna, what are you doing?
What we probably should have done when this whole mess started. Uh, Estelle, how do you sound the alarm? Get someone here. This fire. We need to do something about that.
Yeah, and she's just kind of gathering herself. And actually, I think there is something I can do. Still feel a little bit of magic. And she's going to use her final spell slot at second level to cast Create or Destroy Water. And she's going to create the water falling as rain. Uh, at first level, it's 30. What's it at second level? A 35-foot cube uh, in an attempt to put out the fire.
Well, damn, yeah. Uh, that is more than enough area to cover the burning that was created by Luan's burning hands, as using the last of your magical resources, you extend your hand above the burning forest, and a rumble is heard, and then a dark cloud, seems to stretch itself over. You thought it was smoke at first, Leanna, but no. Clearly, a a rain cloud has formed inside of Shuruk and is drenching the at one time burning forest.
Well, that's one worry down.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm fully out.
Alright.
Um,
We need to go find Moss. Fuck, we need to find Show. Someone with some sense of authority and let them know what the hell's going on.
yeah, uh, even so.
Yeah, that's why I swore before him.
I know, but it's just a lot. It's
Yeah,
just a lot.
and it's kind of good that fucking ow that you are tapped and can't heal me because me being injured like this will hopefully add credence to to what we have to say.
Well, we can hope.
Can I get a luck check from either Leanna or Estelle?
Uh,
Uh,
I usually volunteer more often, so I'll let it go to you if you'd like.
okay. D100.
D100? Yep.
85.
85.
I don't know if high is good or bad. I never know.
Uh, so as you guys are.
Oh, right. Leanna grabbed the scrap of paper that she'd run over to, just noting that down.
Mm, so you've grabbed the scrap of paper. The rain cloud is currently over the burning forest as Estelle has used the last of her magic, and Leanna is pretty well beat up at this time. As you guys are trying to figure out exactly what to do next and what possible next route to go after everything has happened, it is not surprising to reveal that everything that has happened over here has drawn attention.
Yeah.
As a figure does come out of the tunnel behind you, and you see the visage of the bronze slash orange skinned archdruid. His reptilian eyes peering through the dark and stepping forward. And you notice him, and it looks like he's about to open his mouth, but you see him squint and look at you, and then the burning area, and then he's just kind of taking in his surrounding. And oddly enough, as he has arrived, there are slowly some returning signs of life. You do hear a few birds in the background, and there are just ever so slightly hints of uh, green starting to return, ever so slightly. I don't believe I have a token for him, so uh, we'll RP while I look for that.
Okay. Leanna's just going to let out a heavy breath and just shake her head. Well, got what I asked for.
He's still just kind of taking in everything.
Yeah, bit of a mess. Like this when we found it, except for the fire. Wasn't caused by us. Estelle, if you want to fill him in.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Um, we we finally found Soleil and Luon, and what they said was a welcome home party was a lot more tense than it felt it should have been, and the subject uh, turned to a, a certain book that Luan had, and he when I brought it out, he just took it and started to run. I stopped him. I asked him what was up with it. Why is he reading it? It's bad. He said I was reading it in the wrong place. He said I should read it here, and I saw some sort of, I guess, spectral vision of when Laurel was attacked, when she was poisoned, and it was him. Ruan tried to kill her with morality dissolver, and
And while Estelle was reading, they attacked me, tried to kill me.
both of us.
So the boy lied.
They were blaming Estelle for leaving them with all the scorn that was initially heaped upon her that ended up staying when everyone else when she left.
He squints at you when you say that.
They blamed Estelle for leaving them to this.
He kind of begins to just there's a second where he's thinking, and the thought process going through his head seems to visibly confuse him, and he shakes out of it for a moment and looks back at you two with oddly a look of sincerity on his face as he says, "This is something I should have seen coming. The boy was acting strange. I should
Said
have...
said he received a book from a friend who went to go to Bronze Watch about 2 months ago for a performance. They'd said that he'd went, and that was around when we, Estelle and I, and some others had met, and when everything weird started happening. And there's here, this mentions the Mad Maestro. We fought him in Ember Hollow, and his body was taken to Bronze Watch.
He takes the paper and he sees that it was he sees what is written on it, which is the Mad Maestro essentially poem or folktale, and he squints at that too and says, "I haven't read this in a long time." So if Luan had this, so him and Soleil,
He also said he knows where my sister is.
Sho walks over to you, Leanna, first, and still staring at the paper, puts one hand on your shoulder, and you regain 22 hit points. And still staring at the paper, just slowly kind of moves his hand over to Leanna onto your shoulder. And while it was seamless with Estelle, his cure wounds on non-family members, a little bit frightening at first, as there's an extension of plants that come out of his hand and seemingly wrap around your shoulders, but not violently like his entangle before. Just kind of a, oh, that's new. And he rolled the same, 22 hit points.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, Lauren said a name. I can't remember it exactly, but I think it was Othronus? Or something similar to that? Does that sound familiar at all?
Let me roll. Sho looks down, looks back up. I can't say I've heard that name before.
Figured. The show.
And the confliction on his face is palpable, but he does make as much eye contact as he can with both of you simultaneously. And with a confused look on his face, after glancing over the area and hearing what he did and seeing what he has, says, I'm sorry.
Now Estelle looks confused and a little taken aback. Those are two words she hadn't expected to ever hear from Sho, to her specifically.
Leanna's not saying anything, because she knows this apology isn't necessarily directed towards her.
The boy came to me a couple of days ago. He noticed first the dying of this area. I assigned him to look after it and try to find some sort of solution. But he seemed off, uncertain. I assumed it was just him being himself. But he said that he could do it at the same time. And he had this book that he carried with him. It was leather bound and odd, but in a moment of he looks lost for a word that he cannot somehow find. I did not question it when I should have. I made a mistake. And others paid for it. For that, I am sorry.
I will be entirely honest. I don't know how to think of this at the moment with everything that's been happening. I it the apology is taken into consideration, neither rejected nor accepted at this time. I just need to think and just calm down, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
I understand. I will see to the rest of this area myself. Return home, seek Laurel, and rest.
Thank
She's
you.
just gonna she's just gonna slowly nod her head, and she had thought of making a snarky remark, but with the apology, just doesn't have the heart to say it anymore. And just going to walk around and I don't know.
Leanna's going to follow, no longer limping, but looking very tired.
Leona, can you give me an insight check?
Yes. 15.
Leona's kind of been the outside observer for Estelle since arriving at Shiroknatau. The kind of the obvious personal attachment she has sometimes clouded her judgment and has slipped past her from time to time, and you've been kind of there with a critical eye. The word that catches, or the phrase that catches you as Sho sends you off, is that he told Estelle return home with Laurel. A weird admittance for a man who has, since you've known him, all 3 days, all 4 days, has wanted nothing more than Estelle to leave. And that feels, or at least appears, like a larger moment for this kind of individual.
Hmm. She's going to whisper to herself, so he can bend.
And as you guys walk through the tunnel and walk home, your eyes adjust to the darkness, and inside of the darkness, you see ever so slightly, once you actually get close enough, the forms of Nat and Owl, the wood elf archdruid, and the orcish archdruid, as their figures are tight-jawed and their eyes somewhat cold, but they regard you with a nod as they pass and meet with Sho on the other side of the tunnel. Returning home, Passeth.
Yes.
Hello there. Welcome back for one.
Yeah, I'm finally back.
And
Hi, welcome back.
Took me a second.
it's been a hot minute for you, as for the past 3 days you have been going full mad scientist on trying to find some sort of antitoxin or antivenom or just some sort of abjurative effect against the morality dissolver.
I don't even know much about alchemy.
But but the challenge is enticing.
Oh yeah.
And it's weird, like an author who is in the middle of a writing spree, full Stephen King on cocaine style. You have been working on this night and day, and it seems like the hours are merely minutes. And you've somewhat neglected a few self-maintenance things. After about 3 days, you're a bit hungry, a bit tired, but so excited as you are getting so very close to cracking the mystery in front of you, but there's still a couple of pieces missing.
The fact that I'm getting close and the fact that the rumors about this flower deemed it incurable. This poison is incurable, but I am getting so close is getting me so pumped. And that is to be expected while working in the office, so to speak, that you would neglect some things.
And as you kind of bask in this moment, you hear the sound of 4 heavy footsteps approaching, and you notice Boxbot approaching you. And it's weird because you don't remember sending Boxbot away, but it appears that Boxbot has a note on it.
Quickly, I flutter up and take the note. Did you get this, buddy? And I read it.
Because I have misplaced it. And you can make up whatever you wish. Leana, what did the note say?
I don't fully remember. It was a lot of filling in of what had just happened. With Estelle finding information and researching, and finding Soleil, and hoping that what he was working on was being fruitful, and that we need to all communicate and figure out what the fuck we're doing next.
So yeah, you basically get a 2 episode recap and also a note that says basically be careful from Leanna.
So I will. Hmm. Is my experiment at a point where I can pack it up and continue at a future point?
It's
Or
at a.
do I even want to?
That's a question you should answer yourself first.
Oh, there's the wisdom save about letting the flower go.
Yes, that would normally take place, but there's yours is a bit wacky. I'll be honest, because you picked it. You passed the first wisdom save, which has made it so that the plant isn't as potent for some reason. It still whispers in your mind, but it can't. It's not attempting to fully grasp it, if you will.
Plus, how much of the flower did I use in the 3 days?
Uh, were you manip? I'll ask you this: were you manipulating the flower or the nectar in the flower?
Mostly the nectar. I did keep a. I'm trying to keep a promise of using the entire flower so it's not in a usable state from anybody else,
Because
so that it's not a potential danger.
after about day 1 or so, you would notice that despite the fact that you're using the nectar in different kinds of salves and uh, experimentation, it's almost like the nectar itself just isn't fully going away. It's like deep in the flower, but there's always a small reservoir of it left.
I could just keep on experimenting no matter what. So it seems.
So it
That's
seems.
amazing. Well then, if I'm able to pack everything up, I will. And how do I get to this town again? Falling through the hole. I have to call for you guys from that scrap pile again, I guess.
As you head back, you're, for the first time in about what, 72 hours, your focus is on something else other than the task that you're doing, and you look towards the mound that is Shirak and you see black smoke billowing from it.
Well, shit, that's not good. I start rushing.
You
Get some rations from Box Spot, chowing down, running with the piece of toast in my mouth.
full anime girl running with toast in your mouth, riding box spot, I'm assuming.
Right.
Uh,
Going even further anime girl.
Boxbot has toast in its mouth. And you
Doesn't
know,
even have a mouth.
you rapidly approach Shrek Natal, and the first thing that you notice is beyond the smoke is a concerned line of Loxodon that are kind of surrounding the area, and it looks weird. It looks like they're passing something around. Something
Hmm.
big and brown.
Perception check to see what it is.
Sure.
11.
11. It's not hard to notice. I mean, as someone like you that is so accustomed to it, it's a wooden object. It appears to be a bucket.
Large
And
bucket.
a very large bucket. And as they pass it around, you see one sticks their trunk into it, lifts it up, and spurts out this stream of water towards the smoke. And then passes it along.
Right. All right. Am I able to squeeze by and go to the whole of the city?
You're trying to maneuver around the Luxodon?
A little bit, yeah.
Roll me an acrobatics check using Boxbot stats since that's what you're riding on.
Um, have any proficiency or anything? Doesn't. It's just +1. Oh no, that's a 1.
Uh, so
Oh no.
these are a bunch of thick boys and girls that are standing side by side. Uh, I mean, like Passeth's old house was maybe about only about a quarter bigger than their calves and thighs. Uh, so as Boxbot tries to, maneuver around, he just it's like one of those uh, malfunctioning animatronics from the Boston Institute of Engineering, where the animatronic or the AI just keeps bumping into a wall and like trying to maneuver finagle, but it just keeps going in this loop.
Okay.
Punch, no, no, no.
Now here's my next question. Can I see through them? Is there enough of a gap to be able to have a line of sight past them?
Yeah,
And how much of a distance would that be?
they're uh,
Are
to
they
where
lined up or
the hole is, or
just to get past the Luxodons?
oh, they're like 2 layers deep, so only about like 10 feet.
Okay. Now, how are you going to I want to cast Misty Step.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to work with Boxbot? I am technically like in centaur form, so it is all being controlled by me there. That's my armor.
Since Boxbot is a part of your armor, I will count it as one creature.
Okay, so then just everything just goes with it as well then. Just the entire wooden centaur, Misty steps through them and jumps right into the hole.
Th-
Pardon me?
So how far are you misty stepping? Directly in front of them? Few feet in front of them?
Few feet, not to totally startle them.
Uh, so
I know
as you
about elephants and small creatures. I'm able to go 30 feet, so that's good.
mhm. uh, as you kind of disappear in a misty haze and then reappear about 13 to 15 feet, we'll say, to keep the 5 theme going. There's not a huge startle, but the one that is closest to you kind of looks down a little bit surprised, and as you take off saying, "Excuse me, pardon me," there is going to be a moment where they do reach out, and I need you, since they're reaching the upper part, I'm going to say that you can roll this, but this is a grapple check, so either athletics or acrobatics.
Definitely acrobatics. Oh, there we go, 14.
14, okay. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Um, just so this is in the session chat.
Nice. Not 20.
The Loxodon just reaches out really quickly and gets a firm hold on you, Paseth. And they say, "Oh, be careful! There's a fire in there."
Yeah, my friends are in there, so I go help them.
We're putting it out here. It might not be best to run in there right now.
Mm, well, sorry, but I really do need to go in there, though. I'll be fine, don't worry.
Roll a persuasion check.
And
10. Um. The Luxodon. It's not. They're not looking at you maliciously or with contempt. They're looking more worried, and they just say, I think it would be better if you just stayed out here with us for a little bit longer, just so we know the fire is down. I'm sure your friends are okay inside. There's a lot of druids taking care of it inside."
alright, let me see what I can do to help them.
going to roll an insight on that one. Is Paseth going to help outside or immediately run in when he lets go?
I'd take a bucket and catapult it.
You take the full bucket and you're going to cast catapult on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that it lands into the hole.
Your cat. Okay, let me. So just so I'm clear here, the smoke is not coming out of the hole where it enters. It's coming out like the side of it. They're just standing back so they don't get hurt by whatever kind of flame is there, whether it be magical or natural. So the hole where you entered initially is not coming out with smoke. Just so I'm clear.
What's the problem with me answering over there, pointing towards the non-smoking area?
Because we don't know if the fire has gone further in, or if there's an arsonist in there, or if there's another danger.
Fully equipped to fight things if it is an arsonist. And I'd want to make sure that my friends are okay in there. You guys just recently lost a friend. I know that. But I'm sure you can understand that friendship is very important, even to me. I want to make sure that I don't lose a friend.
Roll persuasion again with advantage.
Don't need it. That's a natural 20.
Okay.
For 21.
21. As you say these words, and as you mentioned the passing of one of their own, and the sincerity in your voice, the strong grip that was once around you and Boxbot loosens, and his arms drop, and he just says, "Be careful."
Always am. I just leap into the hole.
You leap into the hole, descend down. Luckily, as you are now in one piece with Boxbot, you do descend down with him.
Together.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yay.
And you are in Sharuknatau in one piece with all of your machinations with you.
Immediately rush to go see where the fire is. Keeping a safe distance, but making sure everything is okay.
Okay. I would say that given Paseth's initial, or not initial, his innate intelligence, it's pretty easy for you to deduce where it is because there's a big fucking area of dead leaves and grass over there, an area that you are familiar with. And you book it quickly over in that direction. Leanna and Estelle,
Mm-hmm.
as you guys are kind of bringing yourselves over to laurels and the matters of the past few days, and even more so the past few minutes weighing heavily on your minds, you hear in kind of a dark recess of Sharuk Natal quick, heavy footsteps moving very fast.
Does it sound familiar at the very least? Or
Um, I'm saying I'm. Let's see.
I if not, that's perfectly fine. Just wanted to ask if.
Both give me just basic wisdom checks.
Alright, straight wisdom.
14.
Nat 20
Nat 20.
for 25 total.
Uh, Now I'm looking at roll 20 and no one's rolls are coming up, so that's perturbing to me. But I heard your rolls, so yeah, as you kind of take a moment to think, you think, huh, that sounds like Boxbot. What's your what's your passive perception, Passeth?
My passive is just 11.
11. I'll say that as you're booking it, there's a moment where you turn around a corner and it's fairly darkly shaded in this area, and Leanna and Estelle, you just see Passeth round this corner and zoom off past you.
Estelle's going to cast the light cantrip and have it be as bright as it can possibly be, and say, "Passeth, we're back here."
Now, Passeth did say that he was focused on getting over there as quickly as he could, right? So, can I get a perception check with disadvantage from Passeth?
Oh yeah, disadvantage. Oh yeah, first one's a 4. Oh, the other one was a 19 plus 120. So yeah,
Ah.
4.
Yeah, you're single-mindedly focused and you're making good time and you're zooming right past.
Where's the fire? Where's the fire? Where's the fire? Where's the fire? Where's the fire?
Es- Estelle looks a little defeated. He'll realize we aren't there eventually. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
No point.
Long day.
Exhaustion probably is hitting me too, so I'm not really able to focus on other things.
As Leon and Estelle continue on and trudge back home, you do eventually make it. Laurel there, just relaxing by a warm fire with something cooking in the pot, her hands filled with some stone tablets that she's just looking over.
Diana is going to follow Estelle in and just look absolutely out of energy.
Yeah, Estelle's not looking much better.
Hello.
Well, hi, how.
I
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, please. Oh, God, sit.
Lana's going to just sit down in the chair and slump into it.
yeah,
You.
Estelle's just kind of standing there for a moment, just not really, just looking kind of out of it.
As you slump down in your chair, Leanna, seeing that you're just kind of standing there, Laurel will kind of grab a chair from a corner and bring it up to you and gently kind of guide you down into it.
Thanks.
So, I'm assuming it was not a good time.
Estelle
There
just
are
shakes
not
her head.
too many ways in which I could have seen that of going worse.
I, we found out how you got sick. It it was Luan, and he and Soleil, they're and she just can't get the thoughts out. Currently, tears again are starting to well up in her eyes.
On the upside, Sho doesn't blame us, and he said to Estelle to go home. Think he's finally accepting her.
There's a moment of Laurel digesting what you said, Leanna, and while it does alleviate some sort of tension, uh, Laurel just leans in and holds Estelle, kind of brushing the back of your head, and she's just kind of making a shh sound as she says, "You've been through a lot. Just, I think it's time to rest once more, and when you're stronger, we'll talk more about this."
The dead area, they set it on fire in the fight with us, but Sho's there, and Estelle already made it rain on the water, but we saw Paseth come barreling in the direction of the smoke, so we'll need to get word to him that we're here.
It will be done, but I can see that you two have been through a lot, and I know you've been sleeping for a while now, but I think you might have gotten up a little too soon, Estelle. I think you need some more rest, especially. And she kind of pulls back from you and taps your temple up here as well.
Yes, sleep will hopefully slow the raging thoughts and let you focus some more.
Elle just nods, not trusting her own voice at the current moment, not trusting that it'll be able to work.
Leanna, you are, of course, welcome. Your room is as it was when you left. And Estelle, Laurel, just kind of takes one of your arms and wraps it around the backside of her neck, and she's going to lift you up. She just says, "Yeah, I think it's time for you to rest a little bit. I'll take it from here."
He just barely is able to squeak out, all right, before just defeatedly just going to her room and just crashing, hoping and praying that all of this is just some nightmare the book gave her, and that she will wake back up on the ground in the research area that she was in a few days ago.
Lana's going to just stumble over to her room and curl into bed.
And while you two take a long, well-deserved rest, Baseth, you are full booking it towards where the smoke is billowing out, now to a lesser degree, not quite as black, but you eventually make it to an area where a sign says, I believe it said, "Welcome home." And you blow by that into this dark tunnel. And as you go through the dark tunnel, following where the smoke was coming from, you are greeted with the visage of... Well, you don't have roll 20 up, so this is purely for my benefit at this moment. You're greeted with the visage of 3 of the archdruids. Sho, the auntie, Nat, the wood elf, and... or I should say... Yeah, Nat, the wood elf, and Au, the orcish archdruid. As they seem to be convening for one moment and now have turned to look at you.
See them. I notice them. I make a note. Okay, they're there. Immediately start scanning the room, trotting around, looking, making sure that my friends are okay.
Okay, give me a perception check.
Oh God, they're not here. What did you do with them?
Yeah, you are confident that you have looked over even the dark, shadowy areas, the kind of tint to the glass that you're looking through gives you a little bit better of a sight. It almost kind of illuminates it magically, and you're pretty confident that, yeah, they aren't here.
I stumble out of the barrel, just full on out of my armor, I just am scurrying around in the dust or the soot, the wet soot, just searching. Where did they go? What happened here? Just kind of towards the archdruids, a little accusatively.
It's actually Ao that approaches you, the orcish one with the heavy hide armor, as she walks up and looks down at you. Do you have a problem?
Where is Liana and Estelle?
They left like 5, 10 minutes ago.
You're okay?
I mean, they seem to suffer a few battle injuries, but Sho saw to that.
I just collapse face first into the soot.
And as you kind of
And
drip,
I'm assuming Boxbot just picks me up, puts me on the back, and just trots off.
initially
Just
as
asleep. Just asleep.
initially as you collapse, Ao just looks back and shrugs at her fellow archdruids, who shrug back, and she initially does go to like pick you up, but Boxbot is already there and just kind of like a dog putting you on his makeshift snout, which is just a part of the box.
All just kind of dangling like a puppet.
So,
In the hole.
with that being said, it's about. Well, you wouldn't all necessarily be aware of this, but after a long rest, which for those of you that does apply to, you do get a long rest. You, Estelle and Leanna, do wake up eventually, eyes opening at least, still in Laurel's place, and Passeth, on the other side of where the rooms are, you also do wake up, but you are resting on top of Boxbot, and you are close-ish to the pot and fire to keep you warm while you rested, as Laurel is in the furthest opposite corner, just looking at some stone tablets.
What in the hell's happened?
A lot.
Oh my gosh, you're okay. Oh my god. Oh by the gods. Am I still covered in soot?
Oh, yeah.
You see a very dirty fairy.
And and you're okay. Why are you covered in soot?
I was looking for you. I was worried that you were got mixed up in that fire business.
You're not wrong, but
I was
was
worried you were burnt to a crisp.
gonna take more than that.
Could have told me sooner. I want to be part of the action. Kind of pouts, turning away.
Not like we anticipated fighting. We'd got found Estelle's missing friends, and when Estelle was reading something, they attacked me, and we fought back.
Are they okay?
They're mixed up with the maestro and or his boss or something.
Well, that's not good business.
No, it's not.
It seems that the maestro is coercing those closest to us.
This wasn't the maestro. When the person who was talking with them left for a performance in Bronze Watch was around the time we had fought the maestro. So it has to be the maestro's boss, and he went to go bring him back.
Wasn't the maestro himself? They didn't describe him.
It was definitely not the maestro himself.
So there's not more than one. That's good.
Hopefully.
At this point, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Sorry about the car doors closing.
Didn't hear it.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll at least. I'm fairly certain we'll let you know if we hear something.
Okay.
Mhm. Uh, a little bit into the conversation you two are having is finally when uh, Estelle leaves her room. Just kind of the first thing that would be noticed is that this is the first time either of you have seen her with her hair down. She's always had it in a really large and uh, long ponytail, but it's actually let down now. Morning.
Morning.
Alright, come here and let me get a look at you.
I'm fine.
We're
Have to-
okay.
Need to make sure that no pieces are missing.
Show, surprisingly, took care of that.
Yeah, we're all perfectly fine.
Yeah, obviously mentally exhausted still.
Less so, but yeah.
Yeah.
And that probably was a blow to your emotional state.
Yeah. You
And Luan said he knew where my sister was and that I'd never get her back if we didn't let him go.
I'm
We, we still went after him because that was the right call.
You know, of course. Even if it's an obvious trap, it's still gotta go.
Oh, no, this was after we were already fighting them and we'd knocked Soleil out he tried to trade my sister's location for them leaving, and then we tried to stop him from leaving after making to do so. And he'd said that he knew where Alayla was and that I'd never find out if we didn't let him go. Still certain we did the right thing.
And your friends are all right. They're obviously being held,
Oh no,
but
they
Oh.
got away.
oh no. Well, at least they're still alive. Hopefully, they can eventually be reasoned with.
I don't know if they can. I hope,
I
but
I don't think
I
they
don't
want
know.
to be.
Not any of that. Think positive.
I, I'm
There,
saying I don't think
there
they want
must
to be
be.
reasoned with.
Right.
All right then.
They were blaming Estelle for getting out of a toxic situation that they couldn't also leave. They called everything her fault. I think I
It's life.
finally impressed on Sho, and it finally got through to him that what he'd been doing was wrong. He actually apologized.
Oh, so he does bend.
That's what I said.
That sounds a lot like the vision I had with my sister. I think it was also showing me a lot of her grievances with me leaving, being able to leave, while she's stuck pretty much with the family business.
Um, Speaking of your past, I I owe you an apology. When you said that the one reminded you of someone and how you reacted, I should have given more thought than I did. I'm sorry. I didn't trust you.
And I'm sorry that I was trying to be a little too nice and so I wouldn't disrespect your friend, but you remind me of a sniveling coward.
That's I guess it's not entirely inaccurate, I guess.
Are you still your friend?
Mhm,
Even if things turn dark, they're still your friends.
yeah.
But this guy, he's not my friend. He is just a massive tool. And that's coming from dwarven culture. He is a tool. I need a bath. I
Here,
I stunk before this soot.
it's it's nothing that good cleanliness can't uh do better
Well,
than, but I can at
yeah,
least do something
go
small.
take care of yourself how you need.
Yeah.
That's why I bought the bar of soap, but the prank was too good.
If it had happened to anybody but Bartholomew, it would not have been as It would not have turned out that way. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but it's still a good prank.
No. I'm saying it was better because it was Bartholomew. Someone else would have just careened into a wall. He's the only one I know of who would have gone all the way around the room.
Mm,
But yeah, you should probably go and clean some of that, uh, I guess all that just just emotions to all of the ash and soot on Passeth and the bots. Just this.
Miss Laurel, do you have a big enough bathroom available?
Laurel, who's just been kind of shifting through these tablets, kind of looks up and goes, "Oh, I mean, we have the communal bath, but I don't have anything here on me right now. I could probably splash you with some water, though."
I'll take care of me, but looking over at the bots who aren't as covered, mostly me, but their feet are pretty soot covered.
It's, I mean, it's another part of nature, so I don't really mind it. Um, but if you want me to, I can splash you with some water.
My T-pose ready to accept it.
She, she stands up and does a little prayer motion with her hands and kind of bends forward for a moment and uttering some words under her breath. You hear a little rumble of thunder over you as a storm cloud, roughly about maybe a foot wide and a foot long, is over you and just begins raining on you.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
So Passeth is taking a shower in the middle of the room. Well, I'm glad to see that you're all up. It's You probably had a good amount of sleep. It's been a while, so
Yeah, it's it's been
It's been.
yeah, it has indeed been. And it's kind of weird how you can grow such thick skin to certain comments being made from practically everyone, but as soon as it's someone else saying it, it just feels so different. I'm dwelling, I'm sorry. It's just a lot.
I I understand, but there is still good news to be had, and while there is the downsides, I do believe that we we can move forward from this and find some sort of solution. You've all been asleep for about 14 hours. Um, a few things have happened. I have taken it upon myself to coordinate more with the archdruids, and they have assured me that there will be no more talk of excommunication of you, Estelle, or my or sorry, I got distracted. Uh, there will be no talk of excommunication of you, Estelle, or you, Leona. And while it's still in the works, there is talks of allowing your siblings back home as well.
Oh, that
Some good's coming from all this insanity.
okay. Yeah.
Um, there was a great note of appreciation from the Loxodon herd as the body that was found was the daughter of the matriarch, and while she is still coping with that, there is going to be a visitor today. Apparently, a direct descendant of the matriarch who wishes to give their thanks. I told them that you were resting, so that would be a while, and they agreed to patiently wait. I hope. They seemed very excitable.
Well, it's
Well, we shouldn't
honestly,
keep them waiting.
yeah, some excitement actually might help me to you know, distractions.
And one more thing. I have. And she looks over to her tablets and just looks through them again one more time and takes a deep breath in and deep breath out. I have a working idea of how we could possibly, and there's hesitation there, a measured hesitation, how we could possibly help your sister, Leanna, Jenny, with her ailment.
Leanna's eyes light up.
Now, take it down a notch because you may not be as enthused after I elaborate.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I I've been pondering ever since day one about you and your sister's conditions. And it's it's weird. I've never heard of there being the children of Estelle's kind before. And so I did some digging into uh, who you are, Estelle, and what makes you you. And I found a few things. I found that there is actually a specific designation that your people have.
Oh, okay.
It's an ancient Druidic word. Uh, it 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 relates to many different thoughts and meanings and feelings all at once. It, on one hand, refers to an untethered flight. On the other hand, an undampened light. It refers to many different themes of freedom that I've gathered in my admittedly rushed research. But what I found was that it all led back to the race referred to as the Azamar.
Azamar.
The 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 wing form that you shown, could that have something to do with it?
I mean, it's possible.
But before we get lost in that, because there's so much that I have learned, and I am sweating just thinking about it. She kind of lifts up her arms and kind of fans herself off. I learned that the Azamar are historically not typically the reproducing kind. Before, in the past, thousands of years ago, they were picked and chosen before they were born. But something in the record changed, and it turned into the ritual that created you, Estelle. I don't know why it changed. I don't know what caused it to change. That seemed to be lost, but I'm rambling again. The important thing to note is that this is not something from the oldest texts I could find that's supposed to be passed on. This is a gift that is supposed to be held and cherished. So, looking at that and not having your older sister to go off of, I can only assume that there may be a degenerating factor involved.
So what do you think we can do to help her?
Well, if the cause of her problems are degeneration based on what her body is, then there is the chance of stopping it by changing it.
Changing it? I don't understand.
Estelle, can you roll an Arcana check for me?
Okay, Arcana. 4.
For, Yeah, God, nah, this is weird. Like, the first thing that you came to mind for you is, oh, she might be suggesting teaching Jenny how to wild shape. Um, but as uh, Leanna asks that, Laurel gestures to you, Estelle, and says, I don't know if you remember from your studies, but there was a spell known to us that would allow this to be. He gestures, or she gestures to you, Estelle.
Oh, yeah, she looks like she's trying to remember. I, I don't think I know. Well, I probably heard it, but I just don't remember. I'm sorry.
There's a little bit of a face drop from Laurel. Oh, I should have
No.
made you study harder. Um, it's a fairly difficult spell to enact, but if in doing so you would be able to change the body of the target of the spell into something different, which may allay the uh, chronic degeneration that seems to be affecting her.
Different how?
Uh, into a different race. Uh, it might result in her turning into something more like myself or more like Passeth.
When I speak to her next, I, or when Bartholomew contacts me and we talk, I can bring it up to her.
I must also note the last caveat of that plan. The spell that I was able to find is called reincarnation.
Yeah, now there's
Oh,
just, yeah, now the look of understanding is on Estelle's face. It's like, oh, now she remembers.
I I'll bring it up, but it's all up to her. I
I I it is a risky endeavor, I freely admit, and this is based off of a very quick amount of research, but um, the spell itself, what I need to inform you of, is a spell that requires the person that is being casted on to no longer draw breath.
it what you were saying also got me thinking a little. Is there a way that Alayla or myself, or when we get her back, both of us could give her some of our energy or whatever it is that we have to balance her out, top her off? I don't know.
Again, without your sister here to compare, I don't have a full idea of what is happening, but seeing your physical form be at its human peak and you suffering from no chronic ailments, and to see such a drastic change in Jenny would allow me to, and I must emphasize that it is not a complete hypothesis, but that there might be a degenerative factor going down your line. So, until I would see your older sister, I couldn't confirm, but if you are as you are right now, and Jenny is the way she is, I can only assume that your older sister may possess abilities that would, on at least a natural basis, be considered supernatural to you.
So I have even more reason to get Layla back.
But I don't think that allowing your blood to be exchanged would change her any more than if Alayla does have some sort of ability, then her giving her blood to you would give you that same ability.
I'm willing to try anything to help Janessa, but I don't. I, avoiding things that would kill her, even if it's only temporary, is something that I very much would like to try first.
Right. Well, there's also the possibility of me trying to give something. I don't know, but possible. Or if it does need to be within your, close family, then maybe your mother? I don't know.
Maybe, but it's something to look into, something to bring up to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Uh, but I wanted to let you know, and um, I'm not quite sure, but he that Luxodon, uh, that Luxodon herd member might be stopping by any, and as she says this, there's kind of like a shuffling of the vines and leaves towards the left wall where the door normally is, as if someone is trying to knock on it.
Stell will uh, go over and uh, say, "Yeah, you can come in."
There's a silence in the rustling for a moment, and then in the next second, sliding in is this 7 foot tall, fairly bulky, but dressed in like uh, some gaudy robe that's purple with this black and white fur on the lining. His pants are also this like dark wine color, and he has these pure white gloves over his very, very thick sausage fingers. Around his head is a gaudy circlet, and this man looks like the elephant version of the crab from Moana, just very shiny. And he slides in and says, "Oh, it is so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you, and I've seen, well, I haven't seen that much, but I am going to now." And he reaches out a hand towards you, Paseth, scoops you up off the ground. "So you are the little fairy that I've heard so much about. I heard that you were an inventor. I heard that you have done many different things. Tell me, what many different things have you done?"
He, Paseth mentioned in the uh, chat that he is at the
In the car and
moment,
moving.
yeah, in the car and moving, so he's unable to speak.
Ah, so as Paseth is kind of just stunned and can't say anything at the moment as he's still dripping wet after cleaning himself off, he says, "Wonderful, wonderful, fascinating. And now what about you two?" He looks to you, Leanna, first, and gets really close to you and then backs up a little bit, then gets really close again. "You look like a fascinating individual. You have a white cloak, which kind of reminds me of the Monolay family acrobats I've heard of before."
That is
He is
because I am.
he is fully talking over you at this point. "There is so much I've heard about you. Can you do all the flippy tricks I've heard before?" I tried
Yes.
to do the flippy tricks, but I've never been able to because I'm too big. Well, I find
They
myself
take a
to
lot
be
of practice.
just a wonderful size, but and he just continually, like a waterfall out of his mouth, the words flow.
Leanna's used to it, so she's just continuing to respond, knowing that he's not truly hearing her, but is going to respond anyway.
And then he looks over to you, Estelle. "Oh, and you are Estelle, the one I heard about as well, the druid from here. Oh, I love your hair. It is so long. Oh, I am so sorry." And he tries to bow, but he bows too quickly and just hits his forehead on the ground and then gets back up. "Whew. That was fun. Okay. I believe I may have come off a little strong."
No worries, no worries. Let's start with introductions.
"Oh, of course. Where are my manners?" He extends his hand out and says, "My name is my name is Lithmus."
Hello, Lithmus. I am Leanna Monale.
And I'm sorry, something in my throat. Hi, I'm Estelle.
His hand is currently in between the both of you.
Leanna's going to steal a quick glance at Estelle and nod and extend her opposite hand to one side of his hand.
Yeah, and Estelle will take the other side.
And they
And
will go to shake simultaneously.
he does so like it is the most natural thing in the world. Now, I must say that I have immediately become the biggest fans of you three. After hearing what you have done and the great kindness that you have provided for my family, I cannot emphasize enough how much I appreciate the efforts of all three of you.
We do our best and are very sorry for your family's loss.
Mhm.
I will be 100% honest. When I was younger, I was temporarily separated from my family, so I did not grow up with my sister. I was not keenly aware of many of her goings ons and how she conducted herself, but it is still nonetheless a very trying time for all of us as like you said, losing a family member is never a boon to any situation. But you did bring her body back to my family. She is intact, so we were able to hold a vigil for her, and she was able to be put to rest in the traditional ways, which is of the utmost importance. So I again give you my sincerest thank yous, and he bows again this time, catches himself before he hits the ground, and lifts his head back up.
We're happy to have been able to help in any way that we were capable.
Indeed.
And he looks back for a moment at Laurel and says, I am truly sorry. I didn't mean to encroach upon your abode, and I am truly sorry for a further request, but as these three are the three that did find my sister, there was another request I was going to make of them, but I am a little. I wish for them to only hear it at this moment, as it is a bit sensitive. So, would it be at all possible? And again, I understand this is your abode. This is incredibly rude of me to encroach, but might I have a moment with them in private? And Laurel is not taken aback, but just kind of leans over his shoulder and looks at you guys, and then looks back up at him. I will be just 1 second. I needed to talk to a few others anyway. So I will be right back. And she steps out. Okay. Oh, you were going to say, Zolden?
No, it was just gonna ask. So, what did you need?
I received an interesting notification the morning that my sister was discovered. It was a sound when I woke up, and it sounded like music. And I was curious if this was something that you were familiar with.
What did it sound like?
It sounded like something played on strings. It's not a harp. I'm not very good with the musical instruments.
I,
I was afraid you'd say that.
yeah, I think I know.
What is it?
Um, it's the music that, usually, someone known as the Mad Maestro plays whenever we have an interaction with him.
He sent it back to us via animal messenger as well.
There's a moment where he looks at you. Oh, you're back?
Yeah, a little bit.
Welcome back.
Killed the poor bird too.
I'm sorry, I didn't make that out. Can you say that one more time, Passive?
Killed the poor bird too.
Okay. I'm gonna say, since Passeth just got back, and since we started a little bit late, so it's kind of mucking some stuff up, I'll say that as he looks at you sternly and there's a moment of him contemplating, there we will take our break.
Okay.
Alright. I'm gonna go get some dinner. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Right. I'm gonna take care of my dog. My initial order for food got canceled, so my new food should be here in like 20 minutes. But I can eat and play.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna go take care of my dog now.
Okie doke. And are you taking some time out past that to stretch?
Yeah, we just got back to my storage unit to
Ah,
get some stuff.
well, we are back to the halftime show. I kind of screwed the group up this week. I had to start us late, so my rhythm is a bit off. Apologies. But for conversation this week, oh goodness, what would be a good conversation starter? I know I've plugged this before, but starting sometime in May, probably let's see here on the calendar, because I am so professional at keeping all of my stuff in order. Let's see, calendar. Starting the 24th, I will be also posting a new podcast of Tales of Zadia. They will be recorded on Tuesdays and will be posted Tuesday evenings. I have my players all set. We are still currently working on the world and the world building, so I am very excited. It is a political intrigue slash horror-ish game, so be prepared for that. And I am so excited to invite you all on that journey as well. The past week or so has been quite a bit, so I have not been too much into different forms of media. So, I will admit, after starting this show, I have tried my best to get into other D&D shows. I want to support other creators out there, and there are plenty of them that are so worth the watch beyond just Dimension 20 and Critical Role. You have the Unexpectables. You have people that I'm now going to look like a complete jerk because now that I'm put on the spot, I have forgotten all of their names because I am just that nervous while doing this. There are so many people online, on Twitch, on YouTube, who are putting out absolutely phenomenal content and who are putting so much work into it. I find myself inspired by how diligent and how beautifully crafted their work is, and I find myself desperately wanting to just say to everyone who is listening to also expand your worldview, expand your list of what you wish to watch and what you are going to watch, because there are plenty of people that could use the boost after so much work that they've put into their shows. While I have not actually been able to watch much of their content, I can tell you that there's like as you can tell, I am so professionally looking up some of the people that I wish to. There's Nat 20 Production creating the Wayward Arcadium. I've just started it. I have not watched every bit of it, so I can tell you that just from the start, it is a very great show. So please check that out. I am very new to this. Oh God, I need to write this stuff down. There was another one that just came out, and I am trying to find the name of it, but I cannot because I forgot to write it down for some godforsaken reason. I do want to make these breaks, these times in between.
Oh, after doing that.
Oh goodness. No, ads do not play. Thank you. I know that Joe Fudge on Twitch is making his own show, his own campaign that just came out. Mistletoe. That's what it was. A new show that combines the worlds of Greek myth and Norse myth and D&D and slaps them together. I have watched episode 1. Episode 2 came out recently. Please check that shit out. It is good shit. Do not miss out on it. For risk of embarrassing myself further, I will leave it at that. So I am not embarrassing not only myself or the people who are in this stream, but the people who I'm trying to shout out. Oh boy. Oh boy. Phage. Let's see. I talked about Baldur's Gate last week. I don't know enough about Spelljammer to actually talk about it. So, at keeping the shred of dignity that I have left, I will leave that aside because I couldn't even begin to tell you what is left, right, up, or down. I am interested, though, to incorporate space adventure into D&D and what exactly that means. I'm more of a fan of the angst and horror, so like anything with aberrations is immediately like huge thumbs up for me. So the more adventuring and kind of silly sci-fi gimmick is not exactly up my personal alley, but I am willing to give it a shot. If I ever get a chance to play a D&D game again, I would love to play in a Spelljammer campaign. Probably would like to get a chance. I have played in a session that runs in a campaign that runs multiple sessions. I think I've played in 3 campaigns total since starting D&D back in 2015. I don't get to play that much, and I recently had to stop playing the longest lasting one because of various issues that I hope I am not repeating to my players. I would be devastated if I was. I guess some DM tips, at least from my perspective. Some things that have driven me up the wall and have made me confused when it comes to how DMs should run a game or make a game work. I find it so odd when another DM talks about how they don't want to give their players too much stuff because they don't want their players to be overpowered, because they don't want their players to defeat their bad guys so quickly and whatnot. And I find it disheartening because it tells me one of 2 things. One of 3 things. Either your players are purely in it for the dice rolling and defeating the monsters, which I could understand. Some people want to play Dungeons and Dragons like that, and that is perfectly fair. And that has its own solutions, various different kinds of resistances or homebrewing monsters to make them weirder. I've done so. I've used rules that I'm pretty sure no other monster uses. So just doing something wacky and off the wall is a great way to say, hey guys, prepare for shit you've never seen before. You can't rely on Fireball always. 2, it tells me that the DM is worried that the players are going to be bored of their campaign if it's so easy. And that tells me either you're not putting enough into the social aspect of the campaign, in which the players should be interacting with the world, not just trying to stab it. And if they're just beating their enemies too much and that's going to make the world boring, you should probably work on that, social aspect to it. Or if you think the players aren't going to be interested and are going to start, making fun of you or, criticizing how you DM, DMs out there, put your foot down. If anyone starts saying, oh, this sucks, this was so easy, why is everything so easy in this game? You look them in the eye and you say, hey, I can just make you all die right now if I wanted to. But I'm putting out what I think would be a good challenge for you. Do not insult my efforts. I do not have to run this game. We can stop right now. Or in fact, you could leave if you don't like it. So, welcome back.
I am back.
Welcome back. Just talking about how DMs should not overreact if players, or how DMs should react when players are critical of their DM's monsters and how easy they might be.
You accept the feedback and then gradually change them because you don't want to immediately spike things.
True.
At least that's my opinion.
True. And I brought up the example if the player is being nasty about it, like going, oh, this sucked, it was so easy, and All the encounters are so easy. I'm so bored. If you are afraid of your players responding in that way, or if they do respond in that way, then the illusion of the game immediately drops, and it's just a blunt conversation of, hey, I'm trying my best. If that isn't good enough for you, we can either all just stop playing because I don't need to run this game anymore, or I can run it without you.
Yes.
Obviously,
Always, you always need to remember that if you're not enjoying yourself, you can always stop.
there's no need to bring other people down because you're not enjoying yourself, or at least don't vocalize it in an insulting way. Try and vocalize it in a constructive or just critical
Yes.
but not cynical way.
Yes. Say something more along the lines of, I feel that combat's not quite difficult enough. Your monsters aren't threatening us enough. Could you amp up the difficulty? Not, this sucks, it's too easy.
Yeah. There's always the, like with the Duragar, where the dice will just go, hey, the players are going to walk through this like it's melted butter. um,
And then sometimes the player gets one shot.
exactly. It's if you're finding yourself being consistently good, try and take that as a good thing. Um, but I think that the problem where that might lie, I can't speak from experience because I have not played as a player all that much, but um, that might come from people who have been playing D&D for a long time and who have, told the stories they've wanted to tell and have played the heroes they've wanted to play over the years or even decades. And it gets down to the mechanics that they are either interested in or that still poses a challenge to them, and they can become very crotchety about that.
Yeah, or they've been playing since the old AD&D days where things were absurdly hard as a rule
Mm-hmm.
and unfair as a rule.
Yeah, playing first edition where it's specific. I believe it specifically states that the dungeon master is against the players.
And elf was not a race but a class.
Mm-hmm. Same with halfling and dwarf.
Becoming a paladin was near impossible. Uh, I've played a variant of AD&D before, Second Ed, and it was not very fun, both because the DMs I had were terrible, and because there was just an emphasis on a lot of shit with no saves or just false difficulty. My choices didn't matter very much.
Mm-hmm. Uh, oh god, what was it? It was something that I was gonna bring up, but being on a live, well, technically live mic, it makes your brain just go, and I keep forgetting so much of what I want to say.
That's my secret, Cap. My brain's always.
Oh, what was it? It was. Yeah, no, I lost it.
No worries, it'll come back. Or it won't.
Uh, yeah, I think my biggest fear as a player going into games is that I want DMs to be like the way I DM, and I know that that's not typically the case. Uh, like it would be you'd be hard pressed to find DMs that, you know, allow an extra feat, or if you're a variant human, allow two extra feats, and just, you know, let the character be made at the beginning because they're too afraid of something being overpowered.
I do enjoy the extra feat, especially as a variant human, but like that's something you, as the DM, if you think it's overpowered, discuss it with the players. Give a drawback, or just let, like I did, I mostly used my double feats for flavor.
Very true. God, now I'm
Like
just
not, yeah, not everyone's going to take Polearm Master Sentinel like I almost did with a different character, with 2 feats at level 1.
I mean, even if you did, it would still be. You could still easily tell a story. There are plenty of ways to tell a story that just because your players are strong doesn't immediately destroy it.
Yes, never fear player strength, fear player apathy.
Hello, I have returned.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So it looks like Passeth is still
Oh,
the one that's out.
and my food was apparently delivered, so I will be right back again, but I can play and eat.
Okay.
Okay.
We were talking about DMs and how to properly approach players and properly approach players wanting to engage in like the extra feat thing that I allowed for this game. Um, don't be afraid of your players having, you know, abilities.
Yeah, just uh as long as it's like not like overdone, then like having one like for example, for a variant human that already gets a free feat, having like some caveats to it would be the best way to handle that, I feel. Like still give them, but just say there are some exceptions because you don't want someone to have so much already by the time they're first level. When they hit fourth, having 3 feats already is a lot.
True. Uh,
Yeah.
but I find that creating the story difficulty and throwing stuff, as you guys know, throwing stuff that does not exist in the monster manual is also a great way to
Oh,
create the challenge that is desired.
oh, most certainly. I have a one shot that turned into a 3-parter mini adventure. Um, and we have still not done the second part yet, but it's looking to be 3. But in the third session, I plan to have a homebrewed mechanics for a necromancer boss, and I'm hoping that it all goes well and that I didn't make it too strong or that it's not too weak. It's the gimmick for the fight is basically having to defeat the necromancer while all of the undead under her control are defeated, because if even one is alive, then she just transfers her soul to that undead and directly takes control of it, and now that is the body with the necromancer, the one with the necromancer in it.
If you want to playtest it, I'll be happy to playtest.
All right. Uh, I'll probably send you a copy of what I have and ask for feedback on that, because every other D&D server I'm in, there's a player, so
No prob, but yeah, game testing is literally my day job.
All right, I'll send that over to you sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Test. Okay, so I am showing up. Good. So I'm guessing Passeth, you're still gone.
Yeah, I'm still a little busy, sorry.
No problem. Do you want us to continue, or are you gonna be good in like 5-10 minutes?
You can just continue.
Okie doke. So, returning back, we find ourselves in the abode of Laurel as she has stepped out, and Lithmus, is talking to the party, and after the Mad Maestro has been explained to him, he looks sternly at the party. And then he smiles, and there's a mirthful laugh that follows it. Oh, you had me going there for a moment. Ah,
What?
No, we're
No?
completely serious.
I I understand the necessity for a lighthearted comment at the time, given that there's a lot that's been going on, but I the Mad Maestro, the one from the old folklore, the old poem.
That is what he
how.
called himself.
Mhm.
I I
He he put an illusion over an entire town. It I'm not sure many other normal people could do that.
curious that he would give himself such a name. I'm getting some feedback from your headset, Maru.
Sorry.
No
Is
problem.
it better now?
Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
it was just some clicking or static or something.
Well,
Sounded like
if you hear the
sorry.
click, that's me muting my mic because I am still eating.
Oh, that's right.
Mm,
Yeah, you did tell us that. Uh, he he adjusts himself. I It would be quite odd that he names himself that. Uh, Tell me, you said he put a whole town under an illusion. Uh, what was his town?
The city of Ember Hollow.
Doubly strange. I was down there about a year or so back. It was where I went for quite a bit of my self discovery, if you will. And I found myself under the tutelage of a teacher down there, and I learned so much about so many different tales and folklore of the human folk and the more humanoid ish persons of the land, if you will, away from the druid circles I've been walking my entire life. I did hear about that, the poem. It did catch my eye when I first read it.
well, there's There's
The poem, it began the Mad Maestro of Calistro.
yeah.
Indeed, yes.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, yes, it was. It was a tale of, at least the way my teacher explained it to me. It was a tale of a man who seemingly lost himself in his passions and was trying to entrance others to do the same under the illusion of them reaching the same ability he did, but only being served as stepping stones for his own perverse desires.
That literally sounds like something he was trying to do to one of our companions who is no longer traveling with us.
That sounds exactly like the person we met.
Well, I must not take the situation lightly. It did end the life of one of my own, so I thank you for that information. I just find it so very odd that someone would take on a persona of such a obvious metaphor for deceit and failure.
Well,
Could
two
be that the
thoughts,
maestro had a patron, and the patron is trying to rewrite the story.
right? And you mentioned of failure, and it's it's doubtful, but if he took the name and is performing practically the same actions, maybe, just maybe whatever happened to the maestro in the full tale could, if he was somehow stopped, then maybe it's somehow analogous to what's happening now.
Well, the maestro from the tale, when I say failure, it's not in terms of.
Mm. Of others, not himself. Apologies, I
Well,
misinterpreted.
no, it's hard to describe. Failure comes in many different forms, and it manifests in different ways. The maestro is definitely a talented charlatan. He is able to manipulate and pull the strings of many different individuals and sound absolutely beautiful while he does it. The point is that the maestro wishes for a adoration that he can never truly achieve because he is gaining it through nefarious and deceptive ways. It's not the truth that he wants to achieve. He's not achieving what he intends. It's a perversion. And that's a phone call. Every week at the same time.
Hey,
It is a poem, though, so this is all up to interpretation.
of course, of course. Well, that sorry, I guess my mind is just kind of equating the two more literally than I should. But that
Possibly.
is good. That is good information, though. Thank you.
Yes. And one thing that I cannot stand is someone who wants to be the star without putting in the work.
Well, well, when one is so deluded that they're unable to see that what they have before them, as opposed to what they achieve or strive to achieve, is a road that is bumpy, but it is necessary to take. I apologies. I'm starting to get nostalgic again. Uh, I miss Ember Hollow in its rustic glory.
It is a nice place.
Yeah, I wasn't there long, but I did enjoy my brief time there.
Perhaps just as a bit of conversation to maybe lighten the mood, perhaps you might have met my teacher while you were down there. Did you run into a man by the name of Diedrich Nickelwood?
Did
I
we?
I believe so. He was, if I remember correctly, he was the one who gave us the tour around town.
Oh, yes, yes, he was, he was.
Ah, so I see he is still the socialite that he was when I left. Man
Yeah,
has.
We
Go
were
ahead.
there for the Festival of Colors and actually managed to win the tug of war event.
mhm.
Was he hosting?
uh, it seemed to be, yeah, he seemed not very enthusiastic about it afterwards.
He
It was
was
just kind of
definitely the master of ceremonies.
exactly.
Well, from last I remember we when I left, he at first was just wandering noble, if you will, who found himself in the town and made his own there. And I actually had to leave because he was striving for higher political aspirations. He was looking to be the bishop regent of the town, if I recall the title correctly. So perhaps that's why he was hosting. Maybe political obligation.
Possibly. But
That would make sense.
It's still so nice just to meet you. I can already tell there's so many fascinating tales underneath those caps of yours, but I fear that I am also taking up your time.
no, you're perfectly fine as you are.
Indeed.
Well, I guess I should get to the point because I did say that there was a job. As the Mad Maestro may have been a individual who struck against my family, as I'm assuming that that is the one who also set the fire yesterday.
Related, as far as we know.
Yeah, closely related to incidents going on here.
So the man must have minions too. That makes things a little bit more difficult, but nonetheless. If it is at all possible, I would be more than happy to reward you for the action of capturing and procuring this violent sociopath that has struck against my family and bring him to us for judgment, dead or alive.
That shouldn't be an issue.
I honestly, I had planned to eventually go after him anyway, so this just gives one more reason to bring him down and end his terrible song.
And of course, as you mentioned, since there are people that are apparently aiding him in this effort, I would be more than happy to pay extra for their retrieval as well.
Understood.
Mhm.
He kind of just.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
at the about oh, sorry, you were saying something.
No, I said go ahead.
No. At the mention of extra for accomplishes, it's just a little bit of a um what's the phrase I want to use? Estelle's definitely more subdued, rigid when responding to that part. A little uncomfortable.
He. Hold on. Just for my own shits and giggles. Just as a heads up, I roll this stuff on my phone,
Mhm.
and this because I don't have every character sheet ready to go on here or on D&D Beyond, so I'm rolling this real quick. Uh, let's just put 0 and then I'll roll, and you have got to be kidding me. Hold on. Yeah, no, it. Okay.
Natty 20.
This man has a -3 to his insight. He is not a wise person. And this
But he
fuck
pay attention today.
and this fucker rolled a natural 20. I rolled two
course he
natural
did.
20s in a row on that same app. Why do I not have this luck as a player?
Because it wouldn't be fair.
He, you know what? Because it's a 17 technically, and you don't crit on attribute rolls, I'll flavor this a bit differently. He looks at you, Estelle, and he sees the kind of wince of discomfort, and he goes over and gently places his large palm on your shoulder. And he says, I understand that this task is a huge ask for already someone who helped my family beyond anything we would have ever asked or would ever ask of you. And asking this is a selfish request, but I have every confidence that someone of your, and he looks at both of you when he says this, your grace, your tenacity, your power, your kindness, and compassion would be able to handle whatever villain might stand in your way and whatever cold hearted, evil sycophants might also carry the banner of this madman. So know that you have all the faith in the world from me and from my family.
Out of character. That is wonderfully flavored. I love it.
Yes.
It's still a little uh will uh give a deep breath, calm herself, and say, I appreciate it very much. Thank you. It's
My
great to
brain
hear.
it immediately went to airplane. Came to tell you all good luck. Tell you good luck. We're all counting on you.
Of course. Um, if you so desire, I can, depending on how long you are here, I can, if it would make you feel more comfortable, hammer out a binding contract so you don't feel as if I would ever run off or not repay you for your great efforts, if that would be more to your comfort.
That
No,
was never a concern.
that's no, it's perfectly fine.
Well, that's amazing. Yes. Well, then, I guess that this is overdue. And he reaches in his pocket, his breast pocket, which is roughly, oh, let's say about a foot long and a foot wide. And he pulls out this roughly about the same dimensions of a little chest. And he hands it over to you both.
Uh, and so we'll reach out for it to ease it down.
Oh, it's light enough. It's something that you could hold in your hands comfortably.
All right. Then yeah, she'll take it. Then uh, she'll ask. Well, not ask. Sorry, brain froze for a second. Uh, she will place her hand on the uh opening and uh ask. Uh, I don't want to seem rude. Is it all right to open now?
Of course.
All right. And then she'll open it to see what's inside.
You creak open the little trunk, and at first you notice it's just empty. But as you look at it, you can clearly see that there looks to be some sort of magic miasma at the bottom of it.
Look with your glasses.
Oh, yeah, right. And she'll look and put the glasses on and try to get a better look at it, see what they show,
Okay?
and investigate deeper.
Yep. Roll investigation with your glasses bonus.
Right? And be with advantage. A 22.
22. The magic that comes from this box would suggest that there's something that lies beyond it, deeper, as if the box is merely just a container for something more vast. You would know this as an item commonly referred to as a bag of holding.
So it's like a bag of holding. Okay. And how do uh I'm I've heard different house rules of how bags of holding work. Is it just uh I've heard like one time that actually no, that now that I'm thinking about it, that was probably more of a way to have the players remember what's in the bag. So I'll never mind. It was basically a rule about if you don't remember what's in it, you can't bring it forth to mind. You can't bring it from the bag. But I in insight, that's just a home rule to make sure the players remember what it is. So never mind for that
I was
question.
gonna say that would also probably be something more for like a handy haversack or something.
Yeah, probably. But
I
sorry, go on.
I was going to say that with that check, you would a bag of holding is is essentially uh, a container that leads to another dimension, as we all know. But as you are not going in to the dimension, you do have to think of what you are grabbing in order to grab it, because you otherwise you'd have to physically grab something outside in a different dimension, which would be quite difficult, and it would allow everyone to steal all of your shit.
Yeah.
So you do have to know what you are reaching for.
Okay.
But that's not all. Reach your hand in there and think of something shiny.
I am very giddy about this, and I am all about it, and I would like to basically hook my feet over and try to rummage through it.
Okie dokie. Uh, as Passeth just goes head first, not diving into it, but just hooking his feet out and grabbing whatever he can, thinking of something shiny. He comes back, and due to his small stature, he's not able to grab as much, but Passeth is absolutely filled to the brim with his arms with shiny platinum pieces.
Oh,
Ooh wee!
Ooh. Wait, that's not silver. That's platinum pieces. Are, are you sure about all of this?
Do it together. Yeah, that's pure platinum, baby.
But of course, my family has no need for such uh, monetary infliction, as they would call it, and I've earned quite a heaping helping for myself. So this is essentially the half payment to your mission.
Um, thank you very much for this.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Nothing that you don't deserve.
I am in a full bow. Thank you. Thank you so much for your generosity.
He reciprocates and this time fucks up again and headbutts the floor.
Um, Not to sound greedy, but can we keep the chest as well?
Oh
This
yeah,
is.
the chest was part of the deal.
Oh, I have plans for this.
I'll.
I've fully been able to develop the bag of holding magic components yet, so this is just skipping a whole lot of steps.
It's incredible. Thank you.
I can't wait to see what comes out of that then, Tessa. And Lithmus, again, thank you very much, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that the maestro comes to justice.
And that is all I can ask. You've already done so much. I already feel a bit greedy asking for more, but I am ecstatic that you have agreed.
It's the right thing to do, even without the reward.
Exactly.
Well, I should see to my family. I will be in contact with you via carrier pigeon if you need me. So I will give you the details soon on when you do procure the assassin, where to bring him in order to finish the deal.
Sounds good.
Right?
Best wishes to your family.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Well, toodles, and he walks out.
Estelle's going to give it like 5 seconds after he leaves, and then quietly whispers, but loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. Toodles?
Was it
Oh,
Leia,
the same thing?
Leanna's a little more shell shocked that they got a bag of holding and platinum.
yeah.
Um, let's quickly see how much platinum is in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, might as well.
So Passeth, given his size, was only able to pull out about 5 platinum pieces comfortably. But as you pull it all out, there is a total of 20.
This'll buy a lot of traveling supplies.
That. How. That's. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Even splitting it 3 ways, that's more than I've had in my entire life.
I can get so many building supplies. So much material that I can make so many wonderful things.
Just make sure you don't go overboard and do too much all at once, okay? Well, now we have an objective, which we've already
Two
determined to
times
do
over.
anyway. Yeah, now we just need direction, which I feel like we have 2 now. So, I I do have a few smaller things that I would like to do here, but I can probably get them done today, maybe a little bit into tomorrow, depending on how long it takes. When would you all like to leave?
Once things are settled here, so probably a day or two.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of breakthroughs on the flower. Like I am very close. And you know the rumor of it being uncurable, that's I am proving that you might that might not be the case.
That's incredible.
That's yeah, if I can get I don't know if I want to travel while doing this. It'll slow time to get it done significantly, but if I can just get a couple more days or a day or two.
Yeah, let's give it a day or two then. Finish your experimentations. Let Estelle close out whatever she needs to here. I'll do something. I'm always good at doing something.
Right. Well, uh, if one of the things that I had planned to do was go and explain to the archdruids in more precise detail everything that happened now that it's been a little bit. So,
I'll join you, since we
yeah,
were both there from the beginning.
that's what I was about to ask. So, yeah, and I'll probably also have to find Laurel, tell her that everything's good, but well, as we're on about, we'll probably run into her anyway.
Yeah. Or just send her a message.
That too. Why do I not think of that?
Because the last time we used it, it got weird.
That poor bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, let's you can continue working on that. Just please be careful with it.
Oh, of
And
course.
uh,
We know you're going to. We're just expressing that we want you to continue to be.
I
exactly.
know. But also, breakfast should come first before all of that.
Yes, remember to eat and rest.
Uh,
I
yeah,
I may have forgotten to eat again.
Remember to take your breaks. Set times to get up and move around, clear your mind. I've found that when working on routines and various things, that if I was too intent on them all the time, things didn't always work. But when I came back, even 15 minutes later, after just walking and stretching, things clicked.
probably 10, 15 minutes every hour or so. And also, yes, please remember to eat. That is very important. And actually, speaking of, I think with everything that happened yesterday, with all the rest and all of that, I think it's been a while since I've eaten, actually.
So yeah, let's grab something and then go.
Mhm. Uh, it's not very filling, but I can give us all a good berry. It,
That'll do for now, I guess.
yeah, until we can get work done and have more time for a more substantial meal. And Estelle will cast Goodberry at first level and create 3 and give 1 to everyone so that we're filled for the day for food.
That's about the
Chomp.
same size as my head, so it actually does fill me up.
I didn't quite think about that, but yeah, it would be.
Oh, geez, considering what it does, I better not eat too many of those. It gives you enough nutrients for an entire day for a normal sized person. I
It's
don't know if that magic is
it's magic.
specifically. Yeah. But if it wasn't and it was actually just a berry, it was just that good.
That that
The
does
goodest
sound,
berry.
yeah. But
Squirrel ate one, they would be good for the winter.
that yeah, that does actually sound really powerful if it's scaled like that. But anyway, that's a tangent for another time.
Yes.
Right.
All right, let's get to work.
Yes. Let's. And remember to animal messenger Laurel. Let her know that it that her abode is now free for her use again.
Oh, right, yeah. Uh, upon going outside, Estelle will uh find uh a random squirrel. Who knows? Maybe it's Chuck. Uh, and
Now,
ask
careful,
him.
you don't know if the animal's gonna come across the Mad Maestro and die. Hopefully, it's not Chuck.
Hopefully not. But yeah, he'll uh she will give the message to uh the animal uh saying uh what uh, sorry, voice gave up for a second. Uh Lithmus gave us his request and everything is good back at home. Uh I have some stuff to do. See you soon.
Okay. That is indeed sent out. The squirrel kind of gives you a little salute and heads off. Are you waiting for it to return, or are you going to be doing your own thing?
Uh no, it the squirrel will just give the message and that's good enough for Estelle. It travels a a lot. Like I think it was like I can't remember the exact
25
how much
miles
was
in a
it?
day.
Yeah, 25 in a day. Yeah. So it probably won't take a full 25 miles and a full 24 hours to find Laurel. So uh she is fine with letting the squirrel go off and do its own thing while uh, she and Leona goes and does their thing.
Okie dokie. So who's doing their thing first?
I believe we are at the current moment both going to find the archdruid to give our more accurate, in-depth accounts of what happened the other day. So
I'll say that I'm just going to the dump where all the trash pile, basically, and just continuing my experiments, as well as trying to see if I can fit the box of holding, into my chassis. Barrel.
You are
Okay.
breaking up something fierce.
Sorry, it's very windy.
all right.
Okay. So I guess we will go with Estelle and Leanna to the Archdruids.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, as you guys uh, travel and head over to where they may convene, um, there's talk around the town. You hear the murmuring of people. It's been a quite eventful few days. And after a while of looking, you do end up finding three of the four archdruids gathered together. Like before, you find Sho, Nat, and Owl, as they are nowhere in particular, a bit northeast of where the waterfall is. They're just kind of in a semicircle talking to each other.
Hello.
Greetings.
Nat turns and looks at you first and says, hello.
We with everything that happened the other day, I was a little overwhelmed. So I didn't give a well, I didn't think I gave a good enough description of what had happened, so I just wanted to uh, give a further in-depth account. And Estelle will, just for the sake of time, uh, describe everything that had occurred with Soleil and Luan, with how odd they seemed to be acting, with what they had uh, described for this odd new friend that they made, and uh, in she's going to say it in the least passive aggressive way she possibly can, but it might come off as that a little bit. She's going to describe how Luan, I can't remember if it was Luan or Soleil, but one of them described how when
Luan,
she
because
had left,
Soleil
it
was
had,
unconscious.
okay, how, yeah, uh, how when Estelle had left, every, how the stairs didn't leave, and just how the stigma sticked with them, and the odd book that he had, that Luan had, uh, and how when she read it in that location, it revealed that Luan was the one who attacked and poisoned Laurel with the morality dissolver. And finally, the confrontation, the fight, how it had ended.
Uh,
And yeah, that should be all, if I'm not misremembering anything?
As you begin and you describe the stairs that it was both Soleil and Luan that kind of described that situation because that was before they attacked Leanna.
Mhm.
You mentioned what they said and how they still had to deal with that stigma and they felt like you had abandoned them or left them with that. Nat, the wood elf female, after you summarize that and before you can get on to your next point, says, that is a point of contention. I do believe that they have a sort of complex when it comes to their own um, social status, if you will. I don't believe that their treatment was any different than any other member of the family here, as they were afforded and granted every opportunity, as Sho can attest himself, that Luan was a direct apprentice of his and was afforded many opportunities. So when they refer to these stares and glares and stigma, I believe that that might be a figment of their own imagination and a way to try to corral you emotionally.
Uh,
Nat is
So,
very blunt.
yeah, Estelle thinks for a moment how to give a good response, even whether or not to give a response. And she instead just says, "Thank you for your input," and then goes on to the next topic.
Okay. You mentioned that Luan was the one that had attacked Laurel, and you described how he did it. Her response: given the apparent mental disposition that the boy was under at the time, it is disturbing that we were unable to decipher his motives beforehand, given his history of being a less than standard liar. I am very perturbed by that, but nonetheless, it is good to know that his actions fell to folly, as many of them have, and he is no longer able to betray any more of our family. And as a note, since he has betrayed our family, and since Soleil has betrayed our family in betraying you, you are aware of the consequences of those actions.
She just solemnly nods.
If you do not wish to be part of the circle of life, then you don't have to be in the circle at all.
I very much am hoping that it does not come to that, and I will try everything that I can to make sure that there would be a less severe punishment.
If I see any
She's
of them
cur-
again, I will kill them. She doesn't blink and she does not hesitate when she says these words.
On site.
understood.
The very thing that they said that they were incredibly afraid of, not having a place to come back to if they left, has now occurred because of their actions.
You sound hesitant and resistant, Estelle. Explain.
For basically my entire life, they were the only people that actually looked at me as something more than a curse. They're the only people that I was able to consider true friends for a very long time. I, despite everything that they've done, I, I still care for them and I don't want them dead.
Not only did they try to kill your mother with no remorse, but they also almost killed your niece, and yet you wish for them to live.
Because everyone has a chance to be better than they were. Everyone has a chance for redemption. Everyone has the opportunity. They just need
One
to
chance.
reach, take it.
I will give them one more chance. If they are under some kind of control, like my sister might be, I will give them a chance. But they tried to kill someone who is family to my family, and they tried to kill me.
Understandable. I understand the path of redemption and the desire to seek it. But make no mistake, they are not welcome back here, whether or not you forgive them.
So, and then move on to the next point.
And that was.
Uh, mentioning if it's going in chronological order, then it would be the fight and also uh, there was also the book that she mentioned and its weird effects that she's observed while attempting to read it.
Let's see. What does she know? Okay. Uh, so you describe everything that occurred during the fight, correct?
Mm-hmm. Everything is best as can be recalled.
And then you describe the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a pause on Nat's face as her eyes get a little bit wide. And it's Owl, the orcish woman, who steps up next to her and says, Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. And Nat just looks to you, Estelle, and says, I believe Luan is in deeper, darker magics than what was expected. This is very worrisome.
What is it?
In my younger years of studying the arcane and arcane arts, I have come across several paths of the magic. I have seen the expression of nature magic, the ones we express as druids and others express as rangers. I have seen the arcane expressions through sorcerers and wizards. I have heard fables of those that draw divine power from beings greater than them through dedication and worship. And I have also heard of others who have drawn powers through bargains. I believe that they are referred to as warlocks. And when you described his expression of magic when he fought you, that sickening green glow, it reminds me of an encounter I had in my past years ago against someone else who claimed to be a warlock. And that person was not someone that was of sound mind, body, or soul.
You get yourselves into now, guys? Okay.
And that book might be an aid he might be using in that practice of magic.
Like an arcane focus type thing? I know my sister has one as a caster.
Perhaps not a focus, but a boon. Something that they receive when they have performed to a standard that their, what was the word? I believe patron is the correct terminology, that their patron might see fit to give them due to their work. And as you've described the effects of the book on yourself, Estelle, I believe that is due to the lack of. She kind of rubs her face for a moment. Due to the fact that those were not words meant for your eyes, it distorted the world around you, either trying to persuade you into it or perhaps repel you from it. I would have to look into it further myself.
Hey. Okay. I do actually still have it. He wasn't able to recover it unless somehow he's been able to get a new one. I don't know how it works, but and she's gonna go into her bag and uh, pull it out. I I found this in the archives, but he expected it to be in a tree hollow. I don't know how it got there or who put it there or what pulled it there, but it was against his own will, apparently.
He was very shocked. And most of the time we were talking after showing up, he'd been inching his way towards that tree hollow.
He expected it to be there. I pushed around him and got to it first. But when I said or when I asked him what he was looking for, pulling out nothing, he looked surprised and reached in and found nothing. So I don't know what's happening with that, but it's weird how it just kind of came to me.
When you show her the book, do you open the book?
Oh no, it is firmly shut.
Understood. She says, "What are your intentions further with that book?"
Well, I was thinking of at some time trying to get more information from it to do something with it, but now knowing what it is, I really doubt that would be a good idea. And part of me also wants to destroy it now, but if it's destroyed, he would just be able to get a new one. And
Would
as long
he?
as
Do
it's,
we know?
well, if he was able to be given one, what would stop him from asking for a new one or from being given a new one? If it was made in the first place, and if a patron can give it to one, then how many others could be given it? And if many others could be given, why could one not be given many? Does that make sense?
Kind of, but what if whatever power's in it just goes back to the patron when it's destroyed, or if it goes away? I I don't know how any of this works.
I I don't know. This is
Also,
just my
another
best
thing that
guesses.
really concerned me was when we'd we'd knocked Soleil out and Luan was hiding in the woods. He'd said that he knew where my older sister was, and that if we didn't let them go, we'd never find out. We started to, then turned to go after them, and they teleported somehow. And that's where we found the poem of the Maestro.
A ploy, a trap, a way to use your emotions against you, to make you put your guards down and allow him to enact whatever plan he wished.
Estelle cuts her off and says he wasn't lying. I've known him for years. There was desperation in his voice. He was not lying. He knows.
She puts her hand up to her chin, thinks for a moment. A lie comes in many different forms. While not
The lie.
necessarily a direct one or something of intentional deception, perhaps an exaggeration of his ability. Perhaps he did know where they were, but not how to get to them. Perhaps he knew how to get to them, but not where they were, making his initial statement technically true.
The lie that I feel he told is that we'll never find her without him telling us.
Agreed.
If I may, and Sho speaks up. If finding her or this individual you're referring to is what you're meaning to do, I could be of assistance in the short term with that.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Who is the figure you are looking for?
My sister, Alayla. My older sister.
I will see what I can do. And he begins kind of tracing his hands in the air, his fingers, and with a brief strike to the left and then a brief strike to the right and then a focus in the center, he looks, his eyes flash with a golden white glow, and it looks like he's looking far off in the distance beyond where anyone could see from their own naked eye. And he is going to scry on her. Let's see. So it's a save modifier. It's a wisdom 15. And he has a -5 since he has no idea what she looks like. So that's a 10. Okay. I will... Let's see. She has... Okay. Okay. I will roll this on roll 20, because this is important. Let's see.
Can Leanna give him guidance?
This is Layla making a saving throw against his spell save DC.
Okay.
And since he has no idea what she looks like, that means that he takes a hit to this, since finding her is difficult since he only has a name to go off of. Okay. Let's roll it. And he takes a moment to look and look further. The power of nature itself guiding his vision. And then you see the furrowed brow of concentration relax into a confused scrunching of the face, and then he inhales as his vision and his head is kind of knocked backwards and his eyes return to normal, and he just Your sister. Are you sure she wants to be found?
she does eventually want to be found, probably by myself or my parents. She's not quite been herself, as far as I know.
Her power to control her mind and those that would influence her are quite strong. The only thing I was able to get a hold of was let's see if I can just gonna roll a straight check for him. I saw a light, and then I saw red. Red like a thick sheet of rain, but not water. It flowed like water, but wasn't.
Water but wasn't? Oh no.
That is all I can do for now.
Thank you for looking. Out of character, I had to make her a monk.
That caught me off guard. I started to choke on spit.
Um, well, now that's been very interesting. Ao says, just kind of looking on in this very completely over her head conversation. Was there anything more that you had to report, Estelle?
Um, uh, yeah, actually, the first time I read the book, it had some. Sorry, hold on one moment. Sorry, I had to cough. Um, it had notes as to when the stars would disappear. It it was like there were notes, but it wasn't observational. It was almost predictive in a sense. It it described when the stars would disappear and which stars would disappear, as well as well, a lot of weird things. But if everything that is true about the book, everything that we know about the book and Luan, if all of this is correct, then we can assume that he's the one who wrote in it, and he would know, or maybe it's not him who wrote in it, maybe it's someone else. I'm honestly not 100% sure, but whoever originally wrote in the book knew when the stars would disappear. And
Or whoever the. I think patron would be the term for a warlock. Whoever the patron is would know.
exactly. And the part of me, I, I, I believe that it wasn't the patron who wrote this because it felt like a person's notes. And it started out normal, observational slash prescriptive notes, and eventually the writings turned into just, to me, looked like scratches and scribbles. But then the very last page had clearly written out words. And it said, what was it? Today is the first day of the rest of my life. It was about what the writer was meant to be. It mentioned something about not looking up to someone, but to be beside them, and something about a resplendent promise will be made.
While I do appreciate your conjecture, Estelle, the only thing that I am gaining from this is not only has Luan and Soleil engaged in acts of betrayal and sedition against our family, but they are, as the young folks I have heard say it, fucking with the world on a cosmic level as they are now affecting the stars themselves.
Yeah, I just thought it would be pertinent to give as much information as I could.
No, you are 100% appreciated for giving this information over to us. I am, and we are able to come to a much clearer conclusion with more information. Thank you. I just wish to emphasize this as you wish to redeem these individuals, yet again, they are, as the kids say, cosmically fucking with reality.
It's always a chance. And as long as it's them, I'm going to take a chance. I don't care how many times I get burned, I will not stop trying.
I won't let you burn yourself up with them.
But remember this, Estelle, before you go. The 2 times that people have been burned considering you haven't been you. How many people are you willing to put on the line to redeem them? Well,
No one. Sorry. Uh, no one is her response. But as
I
long as it's just me and only me, then I will do as much as I can.
They've proven that they'll go after others to get to you. Speaking as an example.
Then never mind. Never mind.
oddly enough, at this moment, as a comforting hand touches your shoulder, I think Estelle would instinctively look over to Leanna, but not see her, and instead see Sho. And he says, I see the stress you're under. I know I am. And he kind of nods to himself, kind of expectantly, like, yeah, mostly concerning my actions of the past. But to allay some of your discomfort, at least somewhat. And you see him walk over to the waterfall, and with a simple touch with a finger, the waterfall slows to a trickle, and that ground seems to rise up ever so slightly to create a small mound. And through where the waterfall was falling before, a beam of moonlight seems to peer through. And I would say instinctively, there's a moment where everyone in this conversation goes over to just see what is happening and to admire the return of the observatory. And Estelle, before you look up, you see on his reptilian skin and through what was once purely hateful eyes, you see a smile on Sho's face. And you look up through the observatory, and in the night sky, almost presented before you, you see the constellation of the joyous, the smile, return to the sky. Passeth, how are you doing?
One thing that I do want to say before we change,
Mm-hmm.
as the waterfall and the water disappears, Leanna lets out a breath that she did not realize she was holding. Because of going near the water, and then everything that happened, and now the water's gone. That's all.
Fair enough. So, Passeth, you were tinkering again?
Yes, I was. I wanted to go to the dump to be able to finish my alchemy experiments and also see if I could put the the chest of holding into my the barrel bot.
Okay. The chest is 1 foot by 1 foot. It fits snugly, but easy enough in there.
Perfect. That's what I wanted.
Can I get an alchemist check from you, which is just a straight intelligence check?
I will. Give me a moment. Sorry, I had to reload my D&D Beyond.
No problem.
Gents. With advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
of your
already
tool.
a 22. And the other one is a natural one, so 22.
Okay. Uh, So, as you have hammered out this problem, not literally, but as you are now kind of rested and your brain is refocused once more, you have chemically treated enough of this toxin that you are pretty confident at the moment, as you have not actually tested it out, that what you have could be for all intents and purposes, an antitoxin.
Typically for this poison.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Does
So,
that take the up the entire day or the rest of the day?
uh,
I think probably.
it would take roughly about 3 to 4 hours. You were very close. All you had to do was roll 120 for one of your days.
Um, to start. Um, uh,
Are you there, Blinks?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to start on uh, bu- 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 Liana's gift. So I
Okay.
already got Estelle's gift done. I want to start on Liana's.
Uh, which. Let's see. I know you sent me that. Uh, what was it? Do. Which artisan tool would this be referring to? Huh. I can't find that message that you sent me.
It's probably pretty high up.
I was about to offer to help look, but then I realized, oh wait, I can't.
Yeah, on April 9th.
Um, let's say that uh, this would be a. I would say that this would be another intelligence check because you don't have the tool for the job on you.
Okay. That's an 18 or a 12, so an 18.
Okay? You're well on your way. Uh, about a couple of hours in, uh, it's a bit of a trying time. The actual gift is a little bit more artistic as opposed to scientific. So this is a little bit more of a challenge for you. But you are well on your way. I would say in about a couple of hours, you're about almost 20% done with the project as a whole.
That's more than I expected.
So, I will say, with Paseth spending plenty of time on side projects and breaking through on one and already getting started on another, and Estelle with Leanna reporting, and at least Estelle at the moment discovering a new step forward in her long sought after goal, and perhaps more questions being raised, we will end the session there.
This was a good one. I mean, they're always good, but I, for some reason, feel the need to say it every single time.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say thank you to my players for being wonderful players.
Thank you for being a great DM.
Indeed. Thank you very much for running this awesome game.
And thank
Being able to be back. Yay.
Yay!
Yes. It was great to have you back.
Yeah.
Missed your special brand of chaos.
I tried.
And thank you to the audience for watching. We appreciate it. And we wish nothing but the best for you. So, thank you again. Treat yourselves, love one another, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.